How Adiel made over $101,000 on a wholesaling real estate deal. That's right. Adiel right here made over $101,000 double closing on a wholesaling deal. We got the HUDs to prove it. We have the A to B, the B to C. We got the entire thing where Adiel netted over $101,000. So in today's Bags to Riches podcast episode, I'm going to interview Adiel, and we're going to break down how he made over $101,000 on that deal and exactly how you can do the same exact thing. Adiel, thank you so much for hopping on today.
Thank you for having me, man. Super happy.
Dude, I'm excited, man. You showed me the deal. I got super pumped. I got the HUD sent, and it was insane. So without further ado, let's kind of break down what's your journey starting to wholesaling real estate and get into that deal. So how do you get into wholesaling real estate?
So I started literally January of last year, and I was going through some personal stuff where I kind of felt, super down. Just didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I was working at a collision center as a painter, like an automotive painter. It was a really good job. I was making $100K a year. But I was just tired of your typical 8 to 5 every single day with no time to do anything else. And at that same time, actually, my dad had a rental property that he had for a really long time. And he was actually fixing it up because the tenants that he had in there at the time ruined the property. And it kind of just got me interested in, properties and real estate and fixing and flipping. And I just started looking up on YouTube and came across your channel. And then literally ever since that day, I've listened to probably every single episode that you had live. Every day after that at work, I would just put my headphones on and listen to, hours of live streams and just learning everything I could about the business.
Dude, insane. So let's kind of talk about, where do you live and where is your wholesaling market?
Sure. I live in St. Petersburg, Florida, and I do pretty much all of Tampa Bay, all the counties around here. But yeah.
So what was that deal, the 101,000, your first wholesaling deal?
No, that was actually my fourth since January of last year.
Your fourth?
My 40th.
40th?
My 40th. Yeah.
So before we get into that one, let's kind of talk about your journey. So what was your first wholesaling real estate deal?
So I didn't get my first wholesale deal till 5 months into me starting. So I got my first wholesale deal in May of last year, and it wasn't for lack of trying. Every single time that I had a little bit of time, I would spend it cold calling. As soon as I would get home from work from 5 or 6 to 8:30, I would cold call every single day. Mm-hmm. But I didn't get a deal till about 5 months in.
Wow. And let's talk about that deal. What list was it from? How did you get it? The whole 9 yards.
That deal that I got, I believe, was from a tired landlord list. And it was actually sent to me by one of my VAs. And I had a VA at the time because I just didn't have the time. Since I had a full-time job, I was making enough money to where I could afford one. And I had already spent a couple of months myself learning how to call and, just practicing and stuff. So I felt comfortable enough to get somebody to help me out while I was at work. And he actually sent me this deal from the tired landlord list. And it was just, I think this deal was in Newport Richey, and it was like a bigger property, on some land, and it was just a single family house. And the guy was just sick and tired of dealing with the tenant. He wasn't paying rent. He wouldn't leave the property, and he was just sick and tired of it.
Wow. Okay. And so did you go meet him at the property? What was the process?
It was crazy because I spoke with him at 8:30 or 8 at night or 8:30 at night, when I got back from work. And we did everything on that same call. I talked to him. He wanted $200,000 for the property. I tried to negotiate down a little bit. He wouldn't do it. I felt pretty comfortable that price, it was still a good deal. And I locked it up for $200,000. I sent him the agreement via DocuSign after the call ended, and he signed it right away. I couldn't even believe that he signed it, honestly. I was, I just kind of, everything happened in the matter of 30 minutes.
What was your process? How did you give the offer over the phone?
I just kind of worked through, your typical motivation, condition, time frame, and the price. And, I talked to him a little bit about why he wanted to sell the property, what the condition was, and, what was the issue with the tenants. And I just agreed to the price that he set up $200,000 after I, tried to see if he could do a little bit better, 180, I think I offered him. and then he wasn't going to budge on the price, so I just agreed to his price.
Okay, and what was that official price?
200,000.
200, and you locked it up, and then eventually you had to find the cash buyer there. What was that process like?
Honestly, I didn't have any buyers at the time. I started and I didn't have any buyers at the time. Like literally, like the whole experience that I've had wholesaling since I started, I just went out there and did it. I just worked, my way through it. I didn't have any buyers. I posted the deal on Facebook groups, and I had a buyer call me. I think it was either the next day. I think a buyer called me at night, and we met up with him, or I met up with him the next day at the property. I think I was marketing it out for 270, and we ended up locking it up with him for 250.
Wow!
So that was my first deal.
And so $50,000 closed. Wow! And so, how did it feel to get $50,000 in your first wholesaling deal?
Dude, it was insane. I'd never seen that much money ever like together in my life at all. And I had a good job before this, but never in my life had I seen that much money. It was crazy.
But stories like that make me motivate more people to come on here and just like tell the story, because like you never hopped on the one-on-ones, you didn't really hop on the live streams too much, but you're just listening, kind of behind the scenes and doing it. So
I've always been like a little shy, but I've always listened to the podcast. I've always taken all the information in, and I just got there and I did it, man. Never gave up for 5 months. I called every single day. Even if I didn't get a deal, I was always on the phone every single day after work, and I never gave up.
So what kept you going those first 5 months? Because I think after like month 3 or 4, people get a little antsy.
Just knowing that I was so close, like I would come so close to other deals that didn't work out. I think I had like 2 or 3 deals that just didn't work out due to, I don't even remember. One of them didn't work out due through like probate, or one was like a price thing where I had it too high. But just knowing that I was this close, and if I just kept going, like eventually, like there was no way that I wasn't gonna get a deal. There's just no way. If I talked to enough people, there's no way that I'm not gonna get a deal.
All right, you're not wrong, and eventually got it from there. So that was deal number 1, and then obviously you did 39 after that. Like, what was that process scaling it up? Like, did you quit your job? Like, what? How is that journey going?
I didn't quit my job till about November of last year, so I kept going at my job. It was stable, and honestly, I was scared to quit my job just because I had stable income. But after that, that was my hardest deal. That's the longest it's ever taken me to get a deal so far. And after that, I did a couple smaller deals, like 3,000, 5,000. But I just kept going, man. Just kept marketing, and I always feel like the deals are sometimes they're just gonna end, or like I go a couple of weeks or months without getting a deal, and I just, you feel like when's the next one coming, or is it ever gonna come? But eventually, something happens, something works its way. You just put yourself out there. They're just gonna keep on coming for sure.
Okay, and so let's talk about after that first deal, that second deal after, where you just kept cold calling, use the VAs, the same method, different method. What's kind of your marketing like right now?
Right now, it's all of my deals up to right now have been probably 90% cold calling.
Wow.
Just calling with my VAs.
And what lists?
I do the code violations, like you say, the probates, a little bit of the fire damage and water shut-offs, but not too much. I do need to do better on those. That I do your typical vacants, tire landlords, the big list just to fill in so that my VAs have something to call, because the other lists are pretty small sometimes.
Wow. I love it, because, everyone and their mom that comes to me says, Tampa's so saturated. It's terrible. Oh, I can't do it. I'm just going to send them this. Because like, you got people that say Tampa's too saturated and they cry about it and then they just quit. And then you got people like you that just want to keep going and doing it. And I tell everyone, like, just do the government list, like just consistently do it, show up, and you'll get the deals. And that's what you're doing. And so let's talk about hiring a VA and getting that. Like, how did you find the right VA? Because what I found with cold calling, if you have the wrong VA, your business is going to be terrible. Like the cold calling results, all this stuff. How did you find the right VA for you that actually got results?
I've had this VA since the start, actually.
Wow.
And I am from, I don't remember the website, but it was one of the ones that you said. I don't think it was Upwork. It was the other one.
Fiverr?
No.
Online Jobs PH?
I think so. That one.
Okay.
And I just put an ad, and he reached out. A couple people reached out, but he's the one that reached out that I kind of felt like he would be the best fit. And I just kind of I got the dialer set up, and I hired him to start calling.
Wow.
And yeah, he's been great so far.
And so what is the script?
Just honestly, I just keep it very simple with him. At first, I had like a whole script with him, but now like he kind of just knows how to do it, and it's very simple. Just your typical motivation, condition, time frame, price, and it's just very straightforward. Exactly what you say in your videos. Nothing.
All right. Keep it good. And
Yes,
then how much are you paying him?
$4.
$4 an hour. Any commission, anything like that?
For every deal that we close, I either give them anywhere from like $100 to like $300, depending on how per deal.
Okay. And so how many hours is he calling a week?
He works pretty much like 6 hours a day, 6 or 7 hours a day.
Okay. I mean, that's not bad at all. And so, you only have that one VA?
I have total 7 right now.
7. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And are they doing basically the same process?
So I have 4 VAs that cold call. I have 2 VAs that pull lists and do like the code violation and stuff like that. And then I have 1 VA that does the. Sorry, I have I guess maybe 8. And 2 VAs that do cold calling cash buyers.
Okay. And so I see where the majority of that marketing is. So you said 90% from cold calling. Where are the other 10% of your deals coming from?
I did a little bit of a text messages, text blasting a little bit, and I got a call from that.
Okay.
And I had one that was just word of mouth. Somebody recommended me. That was actually somebody recommended me from another deal that I closed, and they recommended a friend, and that was actually a $30,000 deal.
Wow.
Just from a recommendation, word of mouth.
It's a good friend.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward that $101,000 deal, because that's the one that's really fascinating to me, and it all came from just DMing me saying, "Hey, Zach, just want to say thank you." And I'm like, well, let's talk about it, right? I sent me the HUDs. You sent me the verification on that. That's 100% legit. Let's talk about that deal, because I feel like that deal is probably going to one of the big game changers for you. I remember my first $100,000 deal changed everything for me. Tell me the story on this one.
That one was off of a code violation list, actually.
Wow.
And it got sent in by one of my VAs as well. And I called the seller, and it was the wife. They told me that, I asked them everything about the property. We kind of built some rapport. And I asked them how much they wanted for the house. They wanted $400,000, and they're like a little older. And I negotiated with her, and I made her an offer of $350,000. And she said, "I don't know. I got to talk to my husband about it." And she said that she'll call me back tomorrow or the next day. And the next day I got a call from the husband. And he was, he agreed to doing the $350,000 for the property. And I met up with them the next day. I drove over to Ruskin. And this property actually was a 3-bed, 2-bath, like 1,900 square feet, but it was right on the water. So it's on the canal that leads to like the bay. So It was in an area, and it had great comps next door, selling for like over $600,000. So I knew it was a deal. Like as soon as I got it.
Wow. So you locked up the deal for how much again?
$350.
And then did you already have a buyer lined up? What was the situation with that? Like, did you know you're going to make that much on the deal right when you signed it?
I knew I wasn't going to sell it for anything less than that, because if not, I would have just closed on it myself and listed it less, just because I knew like with the comps next door, like there was no way that wasn't going to be like a really, really good deal.
Yeah.
So I sent it out to my buyers list. I had a couple people go take a look at it, but the majority of them weren't too interested just because it was too far away.
Yeah.
Ruskin is like 50 minutes, 45 minutes, 50 minutes.
It's out there.
Yeah. And I ended up posting it on some Facebook groups again, and I had a buyer reach out to me. They went to go see it, and they wanted it. And I think I was marketing it out for like $465 or something, and I ended up selling it to them for $455.
Wow. So that's about 101,000, more or less. And then you were smart enough to double close. So have you ever double closed a deal before this one?
I did my first deal. That was the only one I had done so far.
Wow. Okay. So wait, this was your second deal?
No, my first deal I double closed. This is
Okay.
the second double closed in general.
Second double close. So explain to everyone watching this, what's the process of double closing? Because I know in Florida it's kind of easy, but still it's a process, right?
Yeah.
Explain your process for doing it versus a regular wholesale deal.
Yeah, it's basically just two back-to-back closings. You essentially buy it, on the first close, and then you simultaneously the title company will, do another closing from you as the buyer to your end buyer. It's just
Okay.
back-to-back closings.
So your title company was already okay with this from the get-go, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so what was that? So did you have to come up with the funds? Did you have to get a transactional funding? Were you able to use the buyer's funds for this deal? How did that work?
I was able to use the buyer's funds
So,
to deal.
so is it with the right title company? Is this how you explain it? Like, how did you get that done? Because the double closing in escrows sometimes a little confusing for people. Do you just ask the title company if like, hey, can you just use the buyer's funds, and they're like okay with it, or do you have to deal with the buyer at all with it? Like, what was that? Because sometimes buyers get freaked out over that.
I would say you just got to have a good relationship with a title company.
Yeah.
And this title company that I've been using, it's the same one that I've used ever since I started, and I have a great relationship with them.
Wow.
And they did this for me on my first deal where I made 50,000. They just used the buyer's money to fund my side.
Beautiful. No, yeah. So I mean, for everyone that's a little confused on this, basically the buyer put up the 450, and they used 350,000 of those funds for the A to B transaction. And then the
Right.
other amount they used on the B to C, and then you're able to keep pretty much that $101,000, which sounds crazy, but it's absolutely legal and you can do it. And so that it's very smart you did that. A lot of people have to get like a loan or something like that. But man, 101. What was it like doing that deal? How did that feel?
Dude, it felt awesome. It just felt like it's, like what you could do is just crazy with wholesaling or with anything. If you just put your mind to it, it's definitely unbelievable what you could do.
Wow.
That
So,
deal, I had sorry.
no, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that deal, I had a little bit of an issue because it had a code violation on, since it came from the code violation, and I didn't see the code violation until I got the title report back, and it ended up being a code violation for the seawall. Had some damage in the seawall where it was a little cracked, and it had like a hole in the seawall. And once we got that back, the buyers, they were a little skeptical about it, but we ended up renegotiating $10,000 down. So it ended up being, I sold it to them for $10,000 less, and then I went back to the seller and explained to them the situation, and I got a $10K reduction from them. And we kind of pretty much kept it the same.
That's a win-win. I mean, all people know you can negotiate code violations down easy. So
Yeah,
that was great. So what was the original code violation for?
it was for the
amount? No, the amount.
Oh, the amount? No, I didn't negotiate the amount with the city. I just negotiated with my
with the buyer.
that they were going to buy it with the current code violation.
Ah, okay. Well, that makes sense. We still made plenty of money, so it's fine.
Yeah.
And so you used a Facebook group for that one. And so it gets a little risky doing it, but I mean, it was a hard deal to sell, but I mean, you got paid in accordance to it. What's kind of your go-to methods for going on Facebook and finding cash buyers?
I'll mainly just, say that I have a property, in the current area and wanted to see if anybody was looking to buy more properties at the moment. And then if whoever reaches out, I send them the information.
So what group did you post that one in and find that buyer?
That one was in one of the Tampa groups.
Yeah. So those are great guys. Like the local, whatever real estate groups, post them there. Don't post my face in my wholesaling group, right? Post it in the real estate group where the investors are. You'd be shocked, but you got to find the right one. And so you've done enough deals where you can know. How do you determine when someone says I'm a buyer if they're going to be a fraud or not?
I've had so many of these. Well, I buy I buy 10 properties a month. I buy 20 properties a month. Like, no.
Yeah.
That this guy was a buyer because he sent me, I asked him for proof of funds, first of all. And then I also I looked up his LLC on the property appraiser to make sure that he actually owned properties in the area.
Smart. So you know how to not get screwed. And that's what, guys, you just got to ask people for their LLC. They're not scared of it. They'll show you a real proof of funds. Because you could have got scammed on that deal. Someone could really screw you up. I've had bad fake buyers try to call the seller, get at it. Like that could have lost you all that money. So that was very smart for you to do. Is that how you get the majority of your buyers now? I know you have VAs for it too.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I have a great relationship with probably 10 of them, and they're just my go-to. Like, I had like that same guy that bought my first wholesale deal that I ever done has probably bought 80% of the houses that I have got under contract. Like he's a great buyer. He's literally my friend at this point. We talk pretty much like every other day about deals and stuff like that. But he's bought multiple properties from me at this point.
Wow. Okay. And so you got your dispo process set up. You got your acquisitions, marketing. So really the last part we didn't talk about is the acquisitions part. So are you still going on these appointments yourself? Or are you closing on the phone? Like what's that process like?
I do pretty much everything myself other than the VAs. I do the acquisitions myself. I do all the follow-ups every day myself. I do all the dispositions myself. It's just me and my VAs.
Yeah. I mean, once you kind of get the marketing out there, you have a lot more free time.
Yeah. I mean, I have too much free time. Like I'm trying to figure out what can I do with the rest of my time. Cause after I do all my follow-ups, takes me a couple of hours. And then I'm just trying to figure out what to do, next.
Dude, beautiful, man. So I know you learn a lot from the channel, freewholesaling.com with the stuff, but like when you're here to close deals, what's your go-to line? You're talking over the phone. You got to get this deal closed. Do you go good cop, bad cop? Do you just go staring low ball? What's your closing line?
I don't even know, man. I just keep it simple. And I try to just do the low ball a little bit. I try to just low ball them first and see what they say. Believe it or not, a lot of people just go for it. But wow. I normally do the low ball. I haven't tried too much of the good cop, bad cop. But I just try to do the low ball mainly.
Okay. And
I try to not make an offer at all. That's but
smart.
Yeah.
Okay. And so through 40 deals, what has been some of the biggest lessons you've learned and the biggest mistakes you've made that if you can go back to someone starting out, you'd probably tell them so they wouldn't make the same mistakes?
The biggest mistake is just not starting sooner, man.
Yeah.
I listened to so much and I captured so much information when I first started, and I'm a quick learner also. I can't say that I've made like any huge mistakes, I kind of just follow everything you say to the T. I vet the buyers. I just try to be honest to all the sellers. Like I'm not trying to do anybody dirty. I'm not trying to do anybody wrong. I'm just trying to, to do the deal, but I'm not trying to screw anybody over.
Wow. Hey, you're a man of your word. You know what to do and you're getting it done. So fast forward your business right now. How many deals do you think you're doing every single month consistently now?
It's up and down, right? It's like a roller coaster for me. I mean, I feel like there's still so much more that I could be doing. I've had months where I've done like 8 deals or like 9 deals. And then I've had other months where I've done 1 deal. It's just kind of how it goes for me at the moment. I feel like there's still so much more than I can be doing to kind of be more, I guess, get more frequent deals, I'm not sure. I actually wanted to ask you about that too.
It's a roller coaster. We can talk about it a little after too, but consistency and consistent deals always come from the marketing you do, right? Yeah. And so if you want to do more deals, usually you got to market more, right? And exactly. I think you make enough money to do that, but I will talk about that one a little later. But man, your story is amazing. I think it's awesome. 101,000. I truly believe the reason why I put you on here is, first of all, your story is awesome. It's amazing. It definitely motivate people watching this, but like, guys, you don't have to just think you have to only make 10K on a deal. You can make 101. Just go for a low ball offer. The worst they say is no. You can always save the deal, have that good rapport, and you're good to go. Adiel, thank you so much for hopping on. Do you have any parting thoughts you have for the audience listening before you head out?
No, I guess just to end it, I just want to say thank you. Thank you and your dad for everything you guys do for us. Honestly, like I wouldn't be where I'm at right now if it wasn't for you guys. And I'm sure a lot of other people that are on this group, would agree. So thank you so much to you and to your dad and everything. We really appreciate it. And last words, if I could do it, you could do it. Literally, if I could do it, you could do it. So just go out there. Don't give up. Doesn't matter if it takes you 3 months, 5 months, a year. Just keep doing it, man. You're literally just one deal away. Dude, you're 100% right. So guys, if you want to JV with Adiel right here, this is his Instagram handle. Adiel Sanchez _. Hit him up on Instagram. You got Facebook, right? So yeah, Facebook is just your regular name there.
But hit him up, send him some deals. I mean, if you want to make 101,000 on a deal, he's got buyers that can do it. So go hit him up. His HUDs are legit. So it's exciting. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video, watching this podcast. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.